You open your phone, you go to open your banking app, and then you don't. Something stops you. Not a notification, not a phone call, just a feeling. A tightness somewhere in your chest that says, not right now. Maybe later. And then later becomes tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week. And somewhere in the back of your mind, the number in that account is sitting there, unlooked at, quietly making you more anxious with every day you don't check it. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. And you are not weak. According to a 2025 study, 22% of people actively avoid checking their finances because of anxiety. Among people aged 18 to 27, that number rises to 43%. Among 28 to 43-year-olds, the exact age group most likely watching this video, it's 35%. So more than 1 in 3 people your age are doing exactly what you're doing, avoiding the number. And today I want to tell you exactly why, because the reason is not what most people think. In this video, we're going to walk through 3 real psychological reasons people avoid their finances. Not the surface reasons, the actual ones. And then I'm going to give you a simple 2-step method to break the cycle that doesn't require willpower, discipline, or any dramatic financial overhaul. This is wealth clarity. Let's get into it. The first thing to understand is that avoiding your bank account is not a character flaw. It is a threat response. Your brain has an ancient alarm system called the amygdala. Its job, its only job, is to detect threats and protect you from them. For most of human history, those threats were physical. A predator, a rival, something that could hurt you. And the amygdala's solution was always the same: fight it, run from it, or freeze. Here is the problem. Your brain does not distinguish very well between a physical threat and an emotional one. When you know that looking at your bank account might show you something bad, a lower balance than you expected, an overdraft, a bill you forgot, your amygdala registers that as a threat. Not a metaphorical threat, a real one. Your cortisol rises. Your heart rate increases slightly. Your body moves toward a stress state. And the most natural response to a stress state is avoidance. Don't look at the threat. Delay the discomfort. The problem is that, unlike a physical predator, a financial problem doesn't go away when you stop looking at it. It gets worse. Research from Workplace Solutions published in March 2026 confirms this cycle directly. Anxiety leads to avoidance. Avoidance leads to more financial strain. Because the problems compound, the bills grow, the decisions get harder. And that increased strain reinforces more anxiety and more shame. The cycle tightens with every week you don't look. You are not avoiding your bank account because you are bad with money. You are avoiding it because your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. The issue is that the strategy that protected your ancestors from physical danger is actively destroying your financial life. The second reason people avoid their finances is shame. And this one is harder to talk about, which is exactly why it needs to be said. There is a difference between guilt and shame that most people don't know about, and it changes everything. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am something bad. Guilt, it turns out, is actually useful. Guilt motivates you to change a behavior. If you overspent this month and feel guilty, that guilt can push you to cut back next month. Guilt is about the action. Shame is different. Shame is about your identity. When you believe that your bank balance reflects your worth as a person, that being broke means you are a failure, that debt means you are irresponsible, that not knowing how to invest means you are stupid, you don't look at your bank account because looking at it feels like looking at evidence of your own inadequacy. And humans will do almost anything to avoid that feeling. The research is very clear on this. As financial psychologists have documented, people who experience financial shame are far more likely to avoid financial tasks entirely, hide money problems from partners and family, and make impulsive financial decisions as a way of regaining a feeling of control. Here is what I need you to understand. Your bank balance is a number. It is not a verdict. It is not a reflection of your intelligence, your effort, or your value as a person. It is data. The same way a temperature reading is data. A thermometer that shows a fever is not judging you. It is giving you information that helps you decide what to do next. The moment you can separate your self-worth from your net worth, which is something we will come back to in a later video, is the moment checking your account stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like useful information. The third reason is one that almost nobody talks about, and it might be the most relevant one for you. It is called complexity aversion. A 2025 study by Harvard economist Xavier Gabaix found that people have a deep dread of making financial mistakes they cannot undo. This dread is not about the money itself, it is about the complexity of the decisions that come after looking. Here is how this plays out in real life. You think about checking your bank account and the moment you do, your brain fast forwards. If the number is lower than expected, what does that mean? Do I need to cancel something? Do I need to talk to someone? What about the credit card? What about the bill that's coming? What about savings? What about the future? Before you've even opened the app, your brain is already drowning in a cascade of implied decisions, and it decides, correctly, in its own logic, that not opening the app is simpler than opening it and being overwhelmed by everything that follows. This is why financial avoidance is so common among intelligent, capable people. It is not that they can't handle the information. It is that they haven't been given a simple enough framework for what to do with it. The information feels like it unlocks a door to a room full of problems they don't know how to solve. The fix for complexity aversion is not motivation. It is simplicity. When you reduce the number of decisions that follow from looking at your finances, the act of looking becomes manageable. And that is exactly what the next section is about. Here is the method that breaks the avoidance cycle. It has 2 steps and neither of them requires you to overhaul your finances overnight. Step 1 is what I call a weekly money window. Pick one day and one time per week. Sunday evening works well for most people, and commit to looking at your accounts for exactly 5 minutes and nothing more. Not to fix anything. Not to make any decisions. Just to look. Set a timer if it helps. 5 minutes, once a week. The goal is not to solve your finances in 5 minutes. The goal is to make the act of looking feel normal and non-threatening. You are retraining your amygdala. You are showing your brain, repeatedly, that opening the banking app does not actually hurt you. Over time, usually within 3 to 4 weeks, the anxiety response weakens significantly. Step 2 is a capture list. Get a notebook or a notes app and write down every financial commitment you have. Every bill, every subscription, every debt, every regular expense. Everything. Do this once. The anxiety your brain carries about finances is largely driven by uncertainty, the fear of something unknown lurking in your accounts. When everything is captured and visible in one place, your brain stops running background processes trying to track it all. The mental load drops, the dread decreases, and the act of checking your account moves from overwhelming to routine. Neither of these steps requires discipline. They require about 20 minutes of total setup time. And they break the avoidance cycle that is currently costing you in missed opportunities, compounding problems, and the daily low-level stress of financial uncertainty, far more than you probably realize. So here is what we covered today. Avoiding your bank account is not a character flaw. It is a threat response driven by your brain's ancient alarm system, compounded by shame that ties your self-worth to your net worth, and locked in place by complexity aversion, the fear that looking will open a door to decisions you don't know how to make. The 3 real reasons you avoid your finances are your amygdala doing its job, shame mistaking data for a verdict, and your brain protecting you from complexity it doesn't have a framework for. And the 2-step fix is a weekly 5-minute money window to retrain your threat response, and a capture list to reduce the mental load that makes financial tasks feel overwhelming before you've even started. None of this is about being better with money in an abstract sense. It is about removing the psychological barriers that are standing between you and the financial clarity you actually want. Because here's the truth. The number in your bank account, whatever it is survivable. The anxiety about not looking is not neutral. It is costing you something every single day. Open the app. Look at the number. You can handle it. If this video helped you understand your relationship with money a little more clearly, that is what Wealth Clarity is here for. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, and YouTube will show you the perfect video to watch right now. I'll see you there.